Okay, Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum, Cam. So now we're going to continue on with our roadmap. Remember we said we'd start off with letters, then we would use those letters to compose words, then from those words we could begin to make incomplete sentences, and then moving on from there we could make complete sentences. So now we're going to focus on words. Sorry, 1 second. Right. So when it comes to words, all words in Arabic can, not all, but majority of the words, or most of them at least, can be traced back to root words. And these are known as asl, right? Asl literally meaning like the root. We get the word usul from here because the principle is the root in which we work upon in order to derive things from, right? But asl, root word, is a word in which other words are derived from, right? And by default, a root word is a verb in the past tense, right? And a verb is an action. So he ran, he walked, he talked, he ate, all these things. Those would be your root words that you're dealing with. And then from there you could begin to produce other words, right? And what happens is that all you have to do is take a root word, put it on a specific pattern that has a meaning, and then it will produce a new word with that meaning, right? It's actually pretty cool. So let's take the word daraba. That means he hit. If we put it on the pattern of fa'ilun, it becomes daribun, right? Fa'ilun is the one who does an action, right? So now we're talking about somebody who hits and they're doing that action. It would be the hitter. So daribun, it's the hitter. Let's look at the word sajada, which means he prostrates. If we put it on the pattern of maf'ilun, which takes an action and turns it into a place in which that action is done, if we put on the pattern of maf'ilun, we get masjid, which is a place in which somebody goes to prostrate. Let's look at another example. We have nasara, which means he helped. If we put it on the pattern of fu'ila, so going from a to u'ila, we end up with nusira, which means he was helped, right? So we have here he helped, or we know who's doing the helping, and then it becomes he was helped, where that person is now being helped, and we don't know who did it. Next up we have fataha, which means he opened. When we put it on the pattern of yaf'alu, it takes it out of the past tense and puts it into the present tense. So now it becomes he helps, right? We turn from he helped into he helps. Next up we have kabara, which means like to be big, right? When we put it on the pattern of af'alu, which is used to make something its most grandest form, we get the word akbar, which means greatest. Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest, right? So the idea is we take the root word, we put it on a pattern that has a specific meaning, and then it now produces a new word that has that meaning. And if you memorize these patterns and you just learn the root words, which you can look up in a dictionary, you can literally begin just producing tons and tons of words. Ustad calls this the Slothful Machine, and it's actually quite an amazing thing when you get it going in your head. It takes time and practice, but that's how you begin to learn Arabic words. You can trace everything back, which is a very powerful thing. So in Arabic, there are 3 types of words, right? And there's this little chart here. It's taken from a bigger chart that Ustad made that he calls the word chart. Kalimat here means words, and there's 3 types in Arabic, right? First off, we have the fi'l, which is the verb. And in English, a verb means an action, right? So to hit, to talk, to move, right? Next up, we have harf, which in English is known as a particle, but nobody really knows what the heck that is, so let me just expand on it. So a harf, or a particle, is a small word that impacts a noun. So when you bring that word in, it's going to have some type of impact on a noun, some sort of impact, right? And we'll expand on that later as we look at the different types of harf. So next up we have ism, and this is like the big category where a lot of Arabic will be covered. So an ism is usually translated as a noun, which is a person, place, or thing. But in Arabic it's more like a supernoun because it pretty much includes everything that is not a fi'l or harf. So that includes pointing words, adjectives, adverbs, pronouns, etc. So we're just going to go through a few of the types right now. So one of the first ones is a pointing word, which in Arabic is known as an ismu ishara, and that's a word that points to something. There's two very specific ones that are used, and that's this and that. This is pointing to something that's close to you, while that is pointing to something that's far away from you. So this is a book. Hada kitabun, right? This is a book. And then hada babun, this is a door. Hada sarirun, this is a bed. It would be within your vicinity and you're pointing to it, you're saying this. Next is that, and it points to something that's far away, and the word used for that is dhalika. So dhalika najamun, that is a star. You can imagine somebody pointing up at the starry sky and just saying that is a star. And then dhalika kitabun. Sorry, spelling mistake there. I'll fix that. But kitabun, so that is a book, right? And it's a book that is far away from us. So these are pointing words, and they're actually one of the most common nouns that you'll deal with. You come across them a lot. And the two main ones are hada, meaning this, and dhalika, meaning that. Next up are adjectives, which are descriptive words. So cold, hot, big, small, black, and red. And when we jump into phrases, we're going to be dealing with adjectives a lot more, because you can take an adjective and the word that's describing and have an incomplete sentence, such as black car. That's an incomplete sentence because it's missing some news about that black car. Next up is adverb, which in Arabic is known as dharf, and that's a word that indicates to a location or time. So words such as below, above, between, under, yesterday, tomorrow. So below the bed would be considered a dharf or an adverb because it's pointing to a specific location, right? Next up are pronouns, which in Arabic are known as dhamir, and a pronoun pretty much acts as a substitute word for a noun used to avoid repetitive speech. And we'll give a few examples of that below. But anyway, some pronouns that we have are he, she, you, I, and we. And in Arabic, he would be huwa, she would be hiya, and you, in the English language, you, when you're speaking to a guy or a girl, you just kind of have to figure it out by the context, right? If I said, you are, I don't know, what's something I could say about somebody? Okay, you are boring. If you're not there in that room, you won't know if I'm talking to a guy or a girl. Or if you don't know the context of the situation, you won't know. But in Arabic, you could figure that out just by looking at the word. Anta is you for a dude. Enti is you for a girl. Right? Then we have I, which is ana, and then we, which is nahnu. So we're going to delve in a little bit deeper. So here's an example of how not using pronouns can get really repetitive. Camilla went to the store. Camilla grabbed an apple. Then Camilla went home. Right? It gets really repetitive really fast. And it doesn't sound as good as if you were to say, Camilla went to the store. She, Hia, grabbed an apple. Then she, Hia, went to school, where she, Hia, studied with Omar. And one thing that you have to keep in mind is that when something is introduced into a sentence, then you can begin referring to it with a pronoun. Right? That's just a tidbit. So he, Hua, was struggling with math. I, Ana, saw them and then joined them. We, Nahnu, then went to class and failed our math exam. Yeah, that probably happened. For me at least. So to keep in mind, in Arabic, unlike English, there are words to refer to two men. So you see how Hua here was referring back to Umar, who's one dude. Hia was referring back to one girl, who's Camilla. Well, if you have two men and you want to refer back to them, there's actually a word for that, and that's huma. So, and that refers to two men who are not around, or two women who are not around. The same word is used, huma. And you can really only tell this from context. Similar to English, when you say you only know if you're speaking to a guy or a girl based on the context, right? There are also pronouns that refer to two men who are in the same room, who are there in front of you, or to two women, and that's entuma, right? A word that refers to two things is called dual, right? while a word that refers to 3 or more things is called plural. And this is unlike English. In English, when you have 2 or more things, that's considered plural, right? So a pronoun has 3 things that we have to look out for. First off is person, and that's who you're speaking to. If it's a third person, it's referring to someone who's not necessarily present, or you're telling something from the past and they're not there at the moment. So he, she, they, all these different words that we see, the hua, huma, words like that, they're referring to somebody who's not there at the moment. Second person is referring to someone who's present. So when I'm saying you, they have to be there in front of me or else it doesn't make any sense, right? It has to be there. And first person is when you're referring to yourself. Next, we look out for number, which is singular, dual, and plural, and third, meaning. So here's a little chart of the pronouns actually being broken down. Here's all of them. Hua, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu. Hua meaning he, referring to somebody who's currently not here. Huma meaning they, 2 males, they 2 males, or both of them. Hum meaning all of them. It's referring to 3 or more males who are currently not in the room. Hiya meaning she. Huma meaning they, 2 females, or both of them. Hunna meaning all of them. Anta meaning you. Antuma meaning both of you. Antum meaning all of you. Anti meaning you, feminine. Antuma meaning both of you, feminine, 2 females. Antunna meaning all of you, 3 or more females. Ana, I, the nahnu, we, right? Including yourself. Actually, that should not be there under dual. That should be over here in plural. Well, it could be plural or dual, right? Because you could be referring to 2 people, nahnu, or 3 or more. That one's left a little ambiguous. But generally, you see it under plural. So I'm going to put it over there. Okay. One thing to keep in mind that's similar to French, if you have a group of girls, it's going to be referred to as feminine. But if you add in just one guy, then that entire group will be referred to as masculine. You would use hum or entum, so all of you, masculine. Even though there's just one dude, it's not based on majority. It's just the way it is. It's one thing to keep in mind. Here is an image that I jacked from one of our other videos because I didn't want to remake it. But a really cool way to remember it is actually just to look at your hand, right? If you look at your right hand, you can actually map them all out, right? With your first 2 fingers, that would be hua, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, and that's third person. The top is singular, the middle is dual, and then the bottom is plural. And then your next 2 fingers, your pinky and the other finger, are second person, masculine being the first one, and then feminine being the second one. Oh wait, yeah, I can point to it here. Being the second one. And singular across the top, dual across the middle, plural across the bottom, and then your thumb, that would be first person. So ana and nahnu, singular and plural. So just a quick, easy way to remember it without always having to reference the chart in your mind. And yeah, we'll continue on from here in the next video.